Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Beth. I am a 37-year-old attorney living in the DC area with my husband. And for today's video, I am going to make my own custom little Viseart pumpkin spice latte collection out of some of their existing shades. So if you are not familiar with Viseart, I believe most of their palettes are easily depottable. So for example, this is the Petit Four Praline palette, and you can see there are little wells there that you can easily just pop these shadows out. So Viseart has made the empty palettes themselves available for purchase. So I picked this up during the last sale that they had. It's nice that it also contains the cover, so you can make sure that the kind of kick up and everything remains in the palette. There's no mirror in these, but they are magnetic. So along with these, I also purchased the single shade in pumpkin. So they've recently started selling just these single shades in addition to these little empty palettes. And this is a shade, it says shade 6 from the Grande Pro palette. So they've kind of remastered that palette so that they are all this Petit Four or Étendue shade. So Viseart does have different sizes of shades. Those are all their kind of traditional theory palettes that I think they are discontinuing. And here, however, I have a variety of different petite shades. So these are those little 8-pan palettes. And then I also have some of the Petit Four palettes down here. If you'd like to see a full kind of collection video of all my Viseart shades and how I've kind of organized them, etc., I'll link that for you. But anyway, I'm going to stick with this size of pan so that it fits into this empty palette. The petite palettes are a little bit smaller, although I suppose you could try to just pop them in there. They might be a little loose, but anyway. And then these kind of traditional Viseart palettes are a little bit bigger, so just so you're aware of that. Obviously, if you had just a kind of open magnetic space like these refillable, I think this is the size of the Grande Pro palettes, and they sell these empty as well. So you could just make a full palette without any kind of limitations or restrictions in one of these, but I thought it would be cute just to have a little quad of shades in one of these guys. So in that vein, obviously we are going to be using the pumpkin shade, and this is how they are selling their singles. They're just like in a little plastic clamshell with a label. And I do want to note what shade it is on the back. Okay, it looks like there's some glue residue holding it in, which is unfortunate. Okay, most of it came off, it seems, but I do want to probably just remove that little bit of residue left. So there are a couple different things I think I can try here. So one is isopropyl alcohol and the other is nail polish remover, like acetone-based nail polish remover. So because I have these little alcohol wipes, I'll see how well they do. Okay, I think that actually did the trick. I kind of had to use my nail a little bit to scrape it. Of course, this has the added benefit of kind of cleaning the back of the pan just to make sure that writing on the back of it will kind of be easy. And alcohol also, of course, dries pretty quickly. So I have this Sharpie pen. So this isn't the largest pan, but I just want to make a quick note like so. I don't know how well you can actually see what I did there. So I just wrote Viseart pumpkin on the back there. And taking this palette, and I think I'm going to put this kind of in the third position here. So that is the foundation of our pumpkin spice latte palette. And admittedly, I was kind of focused on the names of the different shadows I was looking at in addition to the color story. So this is the, I think, Framboise palette is how you would pronounce it in French. I am by no means a French speaker. So I'm just going to pop this from this larger palette back into the mini. And I'm going to try to go back the way I came. Actually, I'm going to leave that shade out because I think that is a contender. And this is just a little kind of metal spatula that helps wrangle things a bit without hopefully too much damage. All right, so we'll get this out of the way now. So this is one contender for kind of a lighter matte shade. I also brought out these two Petit Four palettes. This one is the Chocolat palette. Yeah, Chocolat. And then I also have the, I guess, Praline, however you want to say it. And I think these two shades might be reversed actually from where they were originally situated. So this Cafe Creme shade is kind of the other contender, and just based on the tones alone, I think I'm probably going to go with this one because it has a little bit more of an orangey base instead of this more beige. So I'm going to go with this one, but I might still swatch the Framboise palette. So like I did with the other one, I could probably just note the palette it's from because there's only 4 shades, so it won't be too confusing. And this is the lighter matte. But this is the shade Cafe Creme. I'm not sure if I have enough room for all that. Okay. So I'm thinking I'm gonna put this one in here. And then the next shade, I want to include at least one shimmer. So this one from the Praline palette is Sucre, and again, just trying to make sure I have them in the right order. I think based on how they're swatched, Sucre is this one, so I guess I'll go with that. Again, just trying to remove any residual shadow. Sucre. Okay, that looks pretty good together. So the last shade I'm actually going to take from the Cashmere Étendu palette. So again, these are the same as the Petit Four palette. And this one called Cigar, it doesn't have like a food themed name, but Viseart does describe it as a espresso shade. So that one right there in the corner. I would have had a lot more kind of options based on the very arbitrary parameters I've given myself if I had allowed myself to use like the neutral mattes and the matte Milou, something like that. But I wanted to fit it all into this palette. Okay, so I'm writing the name across the diagonal here just because it gives me more space. So this is the Cashmere, and this is the shade Cigar. So that is the kind of provisional palette. Let's go ahead and just swatch these all together to see how they look. I might do a dedicated video. So I think that could create a cohesive eye look. What do you guys think? So I'm thinking this is kind of a liner shade, maybe a little bit in the very outer V to add depth. This is the primary kind of outer V into the crease shade. This is more of a transition crease shade, and then this is kind of all over the lids. So just for the sake of comparison, I'm going to use that shade there instead of this shade. So I think this was Sucre. And this would be the other matte. So yeah, I think that's also a very kind of workable color story. It's just, I think, more of a stark contrast. And this espresso shade is causing some fallout. Okay, so basically the same color story, but just with a lighter transition. Like I said, I think both work. You might have one palette and not the other. You might have a preference for one over the other depending on your skin tone. One might even argue that that is a little bit too close to the pumpkin shade, but I think this lid shade is a little bit deeper, so you might want something a little bit deeper in the transition area as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this fun little video. Like I said, I might do a look with these 4 shades, probably a short, I'm thinking, just something quick and easy. But let me know if you have any plans to recreate this palette or something similar. I'd love to hear from you. I hope you guys found this video interesting or informative. If you did, please make sure to subscribe down below. I hope you guys are all doing well and staying safe, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.